I just got done watching the brand new Super Mario Brothers movie, starring Chris Pratt, Jack Black, and a bunch of other high A-list celebrities that voiced for the movie. This new movie, compared to, I guess if you want to call it the original, it blew this absolute monstrosity out of the water. Now, before we get into the new movie, let's talk about this old movie for a second. When I first saw this and knew that it was coming out, I was very excited. Hey, a movie about Super Mario Brothers? Count me in. We saw it on VHS as a rental. The closest thing that looked like anything from the legit Super Mario Brothers universe was a bomb. And, of course, Mario and Luigi, and one's wearing red and one's wearing green. It felt like this movie came from a universe where nothing in the Mario franchise existed. The person that wrote this movie was given just an idea, okay, Super Mario Brothers, it's about these plumbers, and they go into a different dimension. Write a movie. And this was the product of that. How this movie came to be in the first place is a long story. We'll get to it in some other time, but for now, let's dig in to this new Super Mario Brothers movie. I will say this review is spoiler-free as long as you have seen all the trailers for the movie. So, there is the track Rainbow Road that they do ride on in the movie, which was great. That is just a slight taste of what is to come when you actually watch this movie in theaters. So that's why I have Super Mario Kart up here. Mario is missing. I just have that up here because Luigi is in it, and he is, I guess, the main character in that game. And Donkey Kong Country, which I say the realm of Donkey Kong and the world of Donkey Kong is in the movie for, I don't know, 40%. Now, Nintendo did make sure that in this film, they covered all of their bases with at least the basic characters that they had starting out. The OG ones in the 80s with Donkey Kong, Mario, Princess Peach, all of that. They all make an appearance and they play somewhat of a vital role throughout the movie. Of course, Bowser is in it, and Jack Black voices Bowser. And that makes me want to start talking about the people that Nintendo had to voice all the characters. Now, I remember when Chris Pratt was first announced to voice Mario, and so many people were just like, oh, God, oh, man. But I was optimistic. I did read it, and a part of me was thinking, oh, no, Nintendo, what are you doing? But then it got me thinking, Nintendo stayed away from making any sort of Super Mario movie after this huge disaster. And I feel like if they were to bring Mario back into theaters, they would make sure they'd be hounding whatever studio was making it and making sure every frame of the movie is to Nintendo's liking. And this time, I am very happy to say they did it right. Jack Black does Bowser's voice, which I don't really care who is voicing it as long as they do a good job. You could tell that he's voicing it, but you could also hear that there's a lot of production layers to make sure it sounds like Bowser, not so much Jack Black. And you would sit there and say, oh, well, that's just voice acting. But no, they did it to a point to where it wouldn't make you burst through the fourth wall and think, oh, that's Jack Black, that isn't Bowser. I always have this rule. If I'm watching a movie and I'm into the scene to the point where I don't think about, oh, okay, they're filming this, I want to know what's going on in the background. No, if I'm into the scene and I'm not thinking about the production and what it took to make the scene, then I know the actors are doing a great job. And that's how I felt watching this. I was completely gripped and immersed into the world of the Super Mario, the Mushroom Kingdom world. Now, granted, the computer-generated animated Mario in this movie looks rather grotesque compared to how you see him in the video games, which took a little bit to get used to, but after a while you're just like, I mean, that's Mario, that is him. So as I try to tiptoe around the story of the movie without spoiling it for anybody, I will say that this movie is a solid start. It's a good first stone that could be set into the origin story of Mario and how he came to be Super Mario and be a part of the Mushroom Kingdom. You will watch and see how Mario and Luigi start as just plumbers and how they get intertwined into this world of the Mushroom Kingdom and Bowser and the Toads and all of that. It's all explained in this movie, which is it's a great way to break in and settle yourself in to the world of Super Mario. Now, I did sit next to a really big kid that was probably about two of me, and he had about three ices. His mom was just like hooking him up with popcorn and candy, and he had three ices. He had this whole system down as he was sitting next to me. He would take a slurp and then he'd go like he's a veteran of drinking ices. And I was just like, man, this guy needs to settle down. It's like I'm hearing maracas as I'm trying to watch Mario. Hey kid, be quiet. This grown-up's trying to watch this kid's movie. I'll admit, I was a little jealous. I wish I got three ices throughout a movie when I was a kid. Anyways, I saw this movie in 3D because that's just how the time lined up. I didn't want to go too late, but I thought 3D wasn't a thing anymore. I thought they discontinued that in 2015, but apparently 3D movies are still going on to this day, so watching it in 3D was actually kind of cool, but it was kind of unnecessary. And as a grown man now, having played all the original Mario games and Nintendo games in general, when you watch this movie, keep your eyes peeled because you are going to see so many different Easter eggs. If it's in the background, if it's the name of a shop that you see in the city, or whatever, you are going to see Easter egg galore. There's maybe 3 or 4 segments throughout this movie that turned it on its side to make it look like you could see Mario playing like a platform game as you would play the original Mario game. It was really cool that they incorporated that into the movie, like the whole game platforming aspect. It got me thinking, oh, that'd be pretty cool if they did make a video game version of this movie. Now, I myself, I really don't laugh at too much when I'm in the movies, but in this movie, there were a few parts. I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but I found it funny, and it had me cracking up here and there. So, like, all around, it made me laugh. I was fully immersed in the world. The whole movie was eye candy. So much detail within this 3D animation was just so satisfying to watch. Now, after watching this movie, some of my friends have asked me, well, what did you think about it? Is it any good? And I will say, yes, it is perfect, actually. There is not one part of this movie that I did not like or I thought was a miss. Like, everything was very thought out, and I'm very happy to say that there was nothing that they could have done better with this movie. In the cesspool of so much crap that is out there, movie-wise, this was a huge breath of fresh air. So I will say yes, I will give this movie a 10 out of 10. It is perfect for what it is. Now, when it comes to movie critics and movie reviews, I never really listen to what anybody has to say. When it comes to food reviews, yeah, but when it comes to movies, it is very murky waters as to trying to figure out what is good and what isn't. And looking on Rotten Tomatoes, they give it a 57%, but the users on Google give it a 96% like. And I think the people have chosen right with saying that this is almost a perfect movie. You got a lot of people that I think would watch some boring art film for 3 hours and, applaud that. And then they watch this and they're like, oh, it was just atrocious. Just saturated 3D artwork that didn't go anywhere. It's like, really, do you want to get your movie choices and base what you should watch off of those boring people? Bottom line is this. The Super Mario Brothers movie for 2023 is amazing. I remember hearing that they were making this 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm finally able to see it tonight, and the wait was totally worth it. I give it a perfect score, a 10 out of 10. Go see it, or just wait until it's streaming. At least watch it once, whenever you feel comfortable watching it. But it is definitely a great theater experience. And that's what I give it. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. I am DJ Glowing Ice saying, Wahoo! Wahoo!